How did you expose your father's relationship with your childhood friend? A few weeks ago, my dad, 46, broke his leg and has had trouble getting up and down the steps of his house or pretty much doing anything. I went over to check on him just to see how he was doing and progressing. He still lives in my childhood home after the divorce, as my mom wanted something a bit closer to the beach, and a lot of my neighbors that I grew up around still live in the same houses. When I used my spare key to get in, I saw our neighbor, let's call her Kira, in the kitchen, making him a soup. The neighborhood has always been kind of close-knit, so while it wasn't too surprising that our neighbors were helping another neighbor in need, it did rub me the wrong way, as Kira just turned 18 in mid-June, and her parents, who were closer to my dad than she was, were nowhere to be found. Their cars weren't even in their driveway. I asked Kira what was happening, and she said that she just wanted to help out a bit. I didn't think into it, and went up to my dad's room where he seemed fine, but he didn't even look up, and he was completely shirtless. I asked him why that was, and he said that it was comfortable, but before I left for college, he never thought it was acceptable for any adult man to be shirtless around me no matter what. So I wondered why he was so comfortable being shirtless around someone else's barely legal daughter. When I left, I called my mom and told her about it. She told me that another neighbor had called her a few days ago and told her about Kira and Dad's relationship. Turns out she had been going over there twice a week since the week after her 18th birthday, and since my dad broke his leg, she's been over there every day from the moment her dad leaves for work to 10 minutes before he comes home. I called my dad the day after, and he reluctantly admitted that he and Kira had something going on, but it was nothing serious, and he was just having fun. I reminded him that she's literally younger than I am and just graduated high school in May. He said that while he knew it was problematic, it was legal, and they were both consenting adults. I hung up on him, but when I called him back, I said that I would no longer come over to his place because I could not fathom the idea of him being intimate with the little girl that he had watched grow up and play games with me. He said that I was being dramatic, and that I should get the little girl version of her out of my head, as he had. I have had very limited contact with my dad since the situation. Yesterday morning, I convinced my mom to reach out to her mom over Facebook. Her mom responded, saying that she'd be disgusted if she found out that what my mom was saying was the truth, and that she and her husband, Kira's father, would look into it. This morning, my mom spoke to the woman who was the one who told her about the relationship, and apparently, there's been no peace in the neighborhood this morning, and everyone's talking about it. Apparently, Kira's dad and my dad had a very heated argument that ended with my dad storming away in his car. Kira hasn't been seen since yesterday afternoon, and even this morning, and her car has been parked in the same spot all day. My mom texted Kira's mom to ask about what happened after she got the news, and Kira's mom told her that she went through her phone when she fell asleep on the couch last night. Everyone knows that Kira's password is her birthday, and she found messages that had subtle hints of flirting while she was still 16/17, but not enough to actually go to the police and say that they had a sexual relationship before her 18th birthday. But 2 days after her party, my dad started sending her messages talking about how beautiful she looked, which Kira thanked him for, and sent a few flirty messages of her own. The messages turned sexual very fast, and they went from texting each other about movies, or Kira asking for advice on her car before her birthday, to him asking her to do things to him and her happily accepting. According to the neighbor, Kira's dad went over to my dad's place at around 6 a.m. and beat on his door until he answered. A lot of the people on that street have jobs or have kids who have school, and it woke them all up. They argued, Kira's dad shoved him, and the HOA man came over and broke it up, which is why my dad left. When I was getting ready for class at around 12 today, he texted me telling me that I didn't have to get Kira's parents involved as she was an adult, and that we could have talked it out as adults. I told him that he was still my dad, and I love him as the man that raised me, but I'm gonna love him from a major distance as I can't get it out of my head that he more than likely groomed this girl. He said that I took their entire relationship out of context, and that Kira was a willing participant. I told him that if I were in her spot and he was her dad, then he'd be pissed. He completely ignored that message and started a new conversation about how legal was legal. And despite her parents interfering, Kira wasn't gonna stop loving him, and he wasn't going to stop what he was doing because the parents of an adult got involved. I told my mom about the conversation, and she said that she's sick thinking about the times Kira came over when we were a bit younger, maybe 16 and 13, and how he might have already been having ideas about her and how good she'd look when she turned 18. I don't know when I'll stop looking at my dad as a predator, as I know how much I love the comfortable father-daughter relationship we had, but I won't allow him to normalize what he's doing, and I can't bring myself to even ask him what he's gonna eat for dinner.